Good late afternoon, maybe early evening, folks, and thanks so much for tuning in today. You're looking live at the Classic City Center here in Waterloo, Indiana. Tanner White, so glad to be with you here on MLIS Pro TV. Another installment of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer here from the CCC, the Classic City Center. We have a 5 p.m. kickoff scheduled, and we are 5 minutes or so from it. Thanks so much for your patience, and we will be so happy to kick this one off if we're ever so lucky, just a little bit early. 4:56 p.m. coming to you live from the CCC as the home team is Fort Wayne's own Summit City Sentinels. Our roadside is Kalamazoo's Zoo City FC. This club with the one win so far on the season, and last night had to take on Chicago. That was an unenviable home task. Those Chicago Mustangs still undefeated all time here in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. Apologies, not sure what that was, an issue with our microphones. We're just going around checking them all, making sure everything's in place, and we're about ready for kickoff. Nonetheless, Fort Wayne coming in knowing that their playoff hopes are still alive. It's a little bit tougher ever since that Kalamazoo weekend played a couple of weekends ago, where they would lose one to the team that currently finds themselves tied in the standings right now, these New Jersey Angels. Thing is, though, New Jersey receiving 2 forfeits this weekend from Albuquerque over on the West Conference of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. And so the numbers sit like this. The standings, Chicago knows that they're in. They're already clinched for the postseason. New Jersey officially now 6-4, and Fort Wayne at 4-2 with 4 matches to play, 3 of those against the defending champion Chicago Mustangs. We're just about ready for kickoff, as our 2 teams are anyway, and they're kind of signaling to us with the body language that, hey, we're willing to get this started a little early. That whistle signals that we are ready to kick it off. Off and running, 15 minutes for quarter number 1. Here's 6, Brenna Musser in the white for Kalamazoo. These white kits, they have the pink and purple hues to them. And on the Fort Wayne side, they've got an all-black kit with hints of purple. 5, Maria Maurer, a first touch for her. The goalkeepers, the matchup goes like this. It's the 1 and 2 save creators so far in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer this season. Saleha Ty Baker, as well as Carmen Swigard, in goal for Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne, respectively.
What?
Swigard is the all-time leader in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer after starting last season in 3 matches, plus the unspeakably dominant performance in the inaugural final. That game in Cleveland last season, Swigard saving 27 of 35 shots on goal against. On the season for her, 92 saves. For Saleha Ty Baker on the other side, 123 saves. Final match of the regular season for Kalamazoo, but Fort Wayne with 3 more of them. Swigard threading the ball through to her left for Layla Mojtahedi. Touch is too strong. Mojtahedi, one of your 5 starting field players, has been more relegated to a defensive role. You say relegated, but that's not really the word, as she's excelled in it. You've also seen Mojtahedi as a striker last season, and in fact was a first-team All-WMLIS selection as much more of a forward. Rounding out the rest of that starting lineup for Fort Wayne, Kim Ortega wearing 8 in the midfield, as well as Ariana Stoltzfus with wearing 13, Alyssa Wiesman 10, and Natalia Lima 9. This is an interception for Kalamazoo. They're very short-handed today. We heard that they suffered another injury last night to Sarah Bruns. Jessica Kennedy, one of the first attacking looks, and it is knocked away. Lima in a battle here with Kalamazoo's 15, Jalen Van Volkenberg. Van Volkenberg, the youngest member of this Kalamazoo side. 16 years of age, and yet leads this club in points, as well as points per game. 4 goals scored and 5 assists on the season. Those 5 assists lead the club. Moj to Haiti, a touch back for the keeper, Swigard. Swigard has played every minute in goal on the season so far. And having talked with her a few times about that, she said, yeah, I know, and maybe we want to get Alicia Burns sometime, their reserve keeper, on the pitch. We also kind of want to see her get some time as a field player. She says, yes, so I do a whole lot of that in my co-eds and in other places that I play rec, and willing to do it and want to. It's a possibility should the outcome of this match be decided one way or another, perhaps in the second half. Probably not so much early on. Moj to Haiti and 5, Maria Maurer. Battle along the right wall. Maurer has the spectacular distinction of the very first goal in the history of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. That was, oh so ironically, against this very same club. These are both inaugural members of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer from last season. As Swigard, the keeper, catches this, it looks like that ball made a little bit of contact with the top of the roof here. Or perhaps it's just a defensive clearance call. Let's see. So the defensive clearance, that's a defender making the clear, putting the ball out of play anywhere within their defending half. And it results in a attacking and free kick for the other side. 7, Eliana Summer ready to take that. Bluffs. Now Moshe Haiti on a shot will get blocked. Losing their footing there, 17, Alexandra Rodas Nichols. There's a run on, solo run, save, Swigard against Musser. Shots on target, and Swigard not phased. Musser, another one, it probably got a piece of Nichols, and then is the keeper fouled? That's what we thought we saw. The contact wasn't a lot, but the endangerment of the goalkeeper doesn't take much as they're throwing their body around. Morgan Hadaway on that pressure for Kalamazoo. 4, Jen Reyes with that touch. You also see on this line, rotating in for Fort Wayne, 24, Vivian Permanen. Permanen playing just her second match of the season, but had a big impact in the first one. That was the first time that these two clubs played here in Fort Wayne earlier this year. Permanen netting her first 2 goals with the club in what would be a very tight 6-3 match, and frankly, at one point looked like Swigard was destined for the shutout. Jessica Kennedy on that free kick is rejected. Comes off of Jennifer Reyes. And now Permanen's looking to turn it into a scoring run all of her own the other way. Permanen and Van Volkenberg. This is tapped over to the keeper, Soleil. Ty Baker. Kennedy turning it back toward Musser. Jessica Kennedy, your owner of Kalamazoo FC, a founding member. Swigard, the keeper, really good job there to not handle that ball outside of her goalkeeper's area. That would be cause for a penalty. She makes the tackle, and is it no harm done between everybody? Is it just a normal restart? Yes, it is. We saw Hadaway coming off, so we're just making sure for a moment, okay, did we get a card after a penalty? We did not there. Clean, hard contact, and the goalkeeper, Swigard, coming up saying, "Ooh, thank you for not hitting me too hard here." Maria Maurer for 49, Nikki Page for Kalamazoo. That Maurer score was 5 minutes and 50 seconds of the first quarter in the inaugural match of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. That game was played back in Kalamazoo last season on January the 17th. Maria Maurer would strike first in that one from Emma Boland. Boland has been a staple with this club for its first 2 seasons, not available in this one. And as we mentioned, this club also lost starting midfielder Sarah Bruns. Bruns was a first-team All WMLIS selection last season. The keeper, Baker. Her clearance is kind of mistouched by Eliana Summer, and she taps her chest. She gives a little mea culpa. Here's 18, Diane Hurtado, sprinting down, but Hurtado not going to get there quite in time to put a shot up on goal. Permanent sees a lot of space up ahead of her. Vivian Permanent, save Baker. Watch the rebound. Burt just topped it. Brenna Burt will come up empty on that charge. Permanent tripped up. Going to be a foul on Van Volkenberg for Kalamazoo. 8 minutes and 12 seconds to play here first quarter. No score. Fort Wayne, Summit City Sentinels, and Kalamazoo's Zoo City FC deadlocked. Somebody's going to crack this scoreboard first, but when? The two top keepers by a number of metrics throughout this WMLIS season here in year number 2 of the league. Now, there's going to be a few goalkeepers in the West that would really like to have some words about that. There's a few that come to mind, and perhaps chiefly among them is going to be Jasmine Espinosa, the starting keeper for Utah's Salt Lake City Uprising. Espinosa with a 1.80 goals against average and an 860 save percentage, plus picking up a couple of wins yesterday as that club swept Phoenix in 2 games played in Las Vegas at a neutral site. Espinosa also now the league leader in wins with 6. Kim Ortega in the little arm bar here with Hurtado. Ortega tosses her off a little bit. Ortega getting the ball back, snaking it up here. Ortega receives it back, little give and go. Her shot is saved by the goalkeeper, Soleil Ty Baker. Big arm for Baker there. Her distribution made it nearly all the way to that midfield stripe. So this Fort Wayne side going 13 deep today. You got the 2 full lines. For Kalamazoo, less than that. They've got just 11 dressed today. That is an unenviable spot to be in. Hurtado crossing over to her left. Here's 20, Piper Wennemar. Wennemar, a rookie with this Kalamazoo side, but a player that everybody throughout the season's been excited about. They say we really love her attitude and energy defensively. We think she's a spark plug. Wennemar, a little back touch here for Brenna Musser. Musser, essentially a 5-year starter in college at Northern Michigan. Won the only conference championship in the history of that program with Northern's women's soccer program. Maria Maurer, Hope College 2021 soccer grad, an accomplished MIAA All-Star. Diane Hurtado, exact same thing. Hurtado just polished up her freshman season at Albion College. Natalia Lima streaking for Fort Wayne. Lima with the right save for Baker. It's on target, but it's a little bit too center mass, and the possession's kind of given up there. The touch heads way up into the net off of 12. Lena Thomas for Fort Wayne, and that will take us to the media timeout. Took all the way up until 4:56 of this first quarter to get it, but that's when we take the timeout. We'll be back in just a few here with Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. You're watching MLIS Pro TV. And we'll make our triumphant return out of that first media break. Tanner White, so glad to be with you here on MLIS Pro TV. The home side is Fort Wayne Summit City Sentinels. The road side is Kalamazoo Sioux City FC. You wouldn't know if we told you the score because it sits 0-0. Scoreless through over 10 minutes of play. You'd say two kind of short-handed clubs, except this is where Fort Wayne's been all season long. For Kalamazoo, kind of a little bit more of a new phenomenon as the injuries have just racked up across their side for, you don't want to say the entire season and give excuses per se, but you got to understand where they're coming from, as it were, and having to make this trip after having played last night in Chicago and seeing a team injury, a very important one with Sarah Bruns heading down. That is a tough tackle from behind for 13, Ariana Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus winning that ball for her side. Swigard, the keeper, to distribute with the goal kick. Moj Tahiti down into the left corner for Fort Wayne. Summer back up for the goalkeeper, Swigard. Man, she wants to be a field player. She's making a very good indication of it. Lima, little back heel touch, interception. Maria Maurer for Brenna Musser. Musser will have to cross over to her right. Hurtado lets this ball come all the way to the wall and then back to her. Van Volkenberg trying to just blow by Moj Tahiti. Little wide of the goal frame. Look at the keeper, Swigard. Ooh, now is she cramping or something? Oh, no. We're all looking at the left knee or maybe the calf. And see, here's the thing. She's not calling for the stoppage, and she's got our referee right next to her where she would be able to do that if she wanted to. Oscar Wante looking on. Wow, this is a really important development in this contest. Finally, as that ball gets headed away a little bit, oh, the goalkeeper, Swigard, is down. Uh-oh. The Fort Wayne trainer, Mason Lowenstein, is out immediately. And we got to take a brief break. Oh, no, we don't. Or, oh, no, she doesn't, rather. But as we're down on the field, let's just give you the officials' timeout real quick. As Carmen Swigard is attended to in goal for Fort Wayne. All right, folks, the worst thing about any kind of injury is when you've just got to restart again and nobody really wants to, but a lot of match left to be played. The goalkeeper, Carmen Swigard, off of the pitch now, and for the first time this season, Fort Wayne will turn to Alicia Burns in goal. Burns a Scotland native from Edinburgh, and well, hasn't had to think practically at all about this sort of doomsday scenario for the club until just now. The goalkeeper change came at that 4:56 mark, or pardon us, a little bit after the 4:56 mark because that was the media timeout. Baker to Morgan Hadaway. Hadaway a little bit wide of that reserve keeper. There's a blocked shot. Throwing her body in there was Alexandra Rodas Nichols. Well done. That's a good challenge right away from the keeper that she's able to venture a little bit off of her spot, even when bared down on with some pressure. Scoops this ball up, but distribution also is going to be real important. From Edinburgh, Scotland, says she played in Scotland for Hibernian FC, then came to the States to play college soccer and played at IU Kokomo. Nearly a couple of hours south of here from Fort Wayne is Kokomo. Pressure put on by Brenna Burt. The keeper, Soleil Baker, is unfazed for Kalamazoo. It's still scoreless. The huge beat to this season all throughout Women's Major League Indoor Soccer right now is probably your defending goalkeeper of the year, Carmen Swigard, off of the pitch right now. Permanent solo run. She scores! All right, that's worth the wait. Vivian Permanent just loves playing in this place. 1 minute and 10 seconds, first quarter. Permanent nets one. We're thinking Permanent from Burt for Fort Wayne. Now, she's as well traveled as anybody, too. You thought, okay, Edinburgh, Scotland, that's a pretty good one. Permanent, a Finland native. Same thing for her. She came and played NAIA in college at the University of Northwestern Ohio and also played with AFC Ann Arbor in the WUSL. So the home side strikes first, but the concern has still got to be more on the goalkeeper end of things. They're looking at the left ankle. They've got ice on it already. Our trainer, Mason Lowenstein for Fort Wayne, is a staple on both men's and women's clubs here with these Summit City Sentinels. The rebrand from this year, originally known as Summit City United. And the woman in charge of holding the fort for so long on this season, who has done as admirable a job as anyone here throughout the WMLIS, is in some pain. Waning moments, first quarter. Shot, score! They'll beat the buzzer. You got just 9.3 ticks left. And so 2-0, apparently unfazed with losing their top keeper. After we kick off, those 9.3 elapse oh so quickly and take us to the break. That was easy enough, folks. But everybody's concern should still be on the goalkeeper, Carmen Swigard. That is one period of play down, 2-0 Fort Wayne, and the starting keeper off the pitch right now. We'll take it to the break and be back with you in just a moment. You're watching Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on MLIS Pro TV. And now we come back to you live. You're looking at the Classic City Center here in Waterloo, Indiana. Tanner White here with Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on MLIS Pro TV as we're off and running for quarter number 2. 2-0 lead to the home side. Make it 3-0 in the blink of an eye here for the second quarter. Lena Thomas 2 times. That was what we were trying to tell you, was that, hey, Thomas had that goal right before the end of the quarter. And then we're just kind of rudely interrupted. Thomas gets a third one. Or pardon us, a second one, but the third overall goal on the Fort Wayne side. So, as great a start for a quarter as you could possibly ask for. That was 15 seconds or so. We've said this a couple of times here from this arena, but the way that you have to look out and around, because there's only one scoreboard, which is behind all the bench area, and anybody on the bench has to do the same thing. They kind of get the neck strain of whipping their head around to always look at it. It's what we've got here in Fort Wayne, here from the CCC. But this is a charming, endearing building, and we still thank our hosts all the time for doing so. That's top Ched saved from Baker. It's a pretty good looking shot. Struck well there by Stoltzfus. Thomas turns that wide. So Lena Thomas with the couple of scores in this contest, but Kalamazoo has lost for the season Kayla Thomas. That is an issue. Kayla Thomas leaving kind of a hole in the lineup there with a season-ending injury. And it's then caused them to rotate through a lot of players that, well, maybe they necessarily wouldn't have. Shot on goal, Stoltzfus saved. Alicia Burns, the reserve keeper, still on the pitch here to begin this second quarter. She's on in relief of Carmen Swigard. Turned high by Thomas once more. As Swigard continues to get ice on the ankle, probably going to get a big wrap. Probably going to come out wearing something a little bit, odd looking because it may be so bulky as to protect that left ankle if she is able to return in this one. Time will tell. Stoltzfus blocked. Just sticking a single leg out there with 6. Brenna Musser for Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo mostly with their top 5 in terms of their starting field players out there, but 49, Nikki Page is inserted over Morgan Hadaway. Moj Tahiti off of her head into Natalia Lima. And the number one connection for the Fort Wayne attacks this year has been Lima and Lena, as it were. This time it's saved by Summer. Oh, that's on target. And the goalkeeper unfazed with it. So Natalia Lima and Lena Thomas, that's what we meant by that. Lena Thomas is still your leading scorer for Fort Wayne, and as she's added the 2 more that make. Well, folks, you have to pardon our interruption. So sorry, as we had an internet issue in the facility. We are back looking live here at the Classic City Center in Waterloo, Indiana. Missing, maybe a minute and a half or so of game time. Could have been a little worse, but our apologies on this one. We are up and running now. Diane Hurtado, little service is blocked. Van Volkenburg still collects, and they're in the attacking end. 10 minutes and 42 seconds to play, second quarter. Shot saved. That should be the first one for the reserve keeper, Alicia Burns. Burns had a real simple goal for this season as a player. Just said improve her play and get into a game. Well, maybe this isn't how she wanted it, but it's how she's gotten it right now, and she's going to be tasked with a really, really crucial, however long it should be, that Swigard's off the pitch. If she's trying to make the return maybe after half, we'll find out. maybe if you see the goalkeeper kit come off, that'll inform your decision. Save once more. Up high. Burns shaking her hand out a little bit after making that save. You get 2 goalkeepers listed on the roster with these official WMLIS game sheets. When it becomes an emergency keeper situation and you really have to put somebody in that you weren't planning on, it's tricky. Do you want them to reuse one of the typically 2 goalkeeper kits that you have? No, because then you don't want to have 2 players with the same number. Weisman! Booyah! That is a perfect feed from Reyes. Weisman's on the doorstep as that ball just falls into her lap. And she does not miss. They don't miss a single stride with the goalkeeper injury. Weisman now coming up just a little higher to come and press against Musser. Musser and that whole Kalamazoo attack thinking, yeah, okay, we got to change something and we got to do it quick. Weisman has got another open look. The chippy. She scores. Weisman back to back on the blitz, this time from Permanent. And the wheels have fallen off, it would seem, for Kalamazoo. Nine minutes and 7 seconds, second quarter, 5-0 to the home club. Permanent, Lena Thomas twice, and then Alyssa Weisman back-to-backs. Weisman is a Fort Wayne, Indiana native, 37 years of age. And when you have kids, when you get up into, the middle and beyond of the third decade, and when you've played soccer your entire life, you just see things. You see the game at a different speed and it slows down a little bit for you. The ball looks the size of a beach ball sometimes. The net looks so expansive that sometimes you just can't miss. And Weisman in the perfect spot, as she has been a number of times this year. She opened the scoring back in that inaugural championship match in Cleveland last season. Much of that initial 7 or 8 minutes rather, of game film was missing for quite a while. It has recently resurfaced. And we have the Cleveland production team led by Peter Tellep to thank from that championship match. They play over at the Wolstein Center at Cleveland State University. Let's see, we've got a whistle. Our official there is James Lowe. He's going over to talk to the goalkeeper maybe about her distribution and how she does it. Not quite certain what that was. Probably a procedural thing that he's dishing on. 8 minutes to play, so as we're under the 8 mark, you can get your media timeout enforced at any point. Ideally, it's on the first stoppage underneath that 8-minute mark. Ortega to Brenna Burt. Lima is tied up with Hadaway, and it looks like Lima's going to be called for the foul. A little bit of the over the back. It's the month of March, so we're going to sneak in some basketball terms, don't you worry. We do not have that media timeout enforced yet, so we play on here. Burns got just enough to keep that ball from crossing the goal line. Halfway through quarter number 2, 3/8 of the way through the match. Jessica Kennedy and her Kalamazoo side still on the goose egg. Not anymore! Hadaway finds a big, juicy ball sitting right in front of her and says, I know what to do with this. Top bin. 5-1, Hadaway, 7-18, second quarter. Now you ought to have our media timeout enforced. And we do get it at that 7:18 mark. As they take the timeout on the field, we will take the timeout over here in the booth, and we will see it back from the break in just a moment. So, folks, our side's now taking the pitch back. This is our second media timeout. Here for the second quarter, it comes at the 7:18 mark. Carmen Swigard injured and out of this contest for now as we resume play here out of that timeout. And Alicia Burns, no issues so far in goal. That first goal allowed, it's really tough to fault her as Hadaway is just staring down far too much net and not enough defender, as it were. Moj Tahiti looked to take a turn, wanted to follow it up too, but then was staring down Soleil Baker. Look at the fun little bluffs from Hurtado. Those are filthy handles. Hadaway a little bit too high. You do give up a great deal of height between Burns and Swigard. And so that's one thing to think about with the shot selection. Natalia Lima. Kaboom. Counterattack. Lima has all the physical ability in the world to just do it herself. Couldn't even see where that long ball came from to her. It was so far out of the frame. 6-1, home side lead. Burns is challenged, and now she might tackle Maurer. This is interesting. See what they rule. If it's just a common foul, that's the good news. If it were, in fact, to be a penalty, oh, boy, there it is. Now, this is awkward. So here's the thing, folks. Goalkeepers serve their own time penalties. As Burns is coming off, Fort Wayne has to make a decision. Are they bringing Swigard back on, or are they going to go with a sixth attacker who's just sitting in goal? It's tough to say what the decision's going to be with Swigard, the starting keeper, injured, and Burns, the reserve keeper, coming off. She's, in fact, asking for an explanation as well. Not quite certain. Burns is going to have to serve 2 minutes on a power play. They're looking for a penny to put on, and they've chosen Layla Moj to be that sixth attacker now. Moj will be noted, or denoted rather, by that red penny. And the worst part of it all, probably for Kalamazoo, she's now got to come and face Jalen Van Valkenburg in a shootout. Van Valkenburg is going to get the free run up. Everybody else has got to start at that midfield stripe. Moj is a futsal pro and an outstanding keeper there. A little bit of a different game. She'll challenge Van Valkenburg, top bin! And a different match in moments. The one thing, if you want to call it a bright spot, is that you get to have Burns come back in and you didn't have to have Swigard immediately hop out there and risk re-injury. Moj is able to laugh it off, but Kalamazoo is thinking, all right, now, so we're alive and this is ball game. 6:21 of that second quarter, the shootout score for Jalen Van Valkenburg of Kalamazoo, her fifth on the year. Van Valkenburg now with 10 points overall for double digits on the year. After the penalty, or the foul rather, down in the attacking end, there is a free kick coming here. This is top of the arc, Jessica Kennedy. Van Valkenburg a little bit wide this time, and everybody on that Kalamazoo side can breathe that little sigh of relief. Zoo City came in with the minus 33 goal differential. That was third lowest, as it were, in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. You had a couple of clubs over in the West lower than that between Las Vegas and Albuquerque. Again, you get a good look at a strong arm from Baker, but it just rolls all the way down to the other goalkeeper, Alicia Burns. We're currently seeing that penalty recorded As Musser's trying to stuff this in, and there's a big pile up. Somebody's got to have to close down on Hadaway. You could see as Hadaway was heading to her left, if she wanted to put that up with her left foot, was going to be another one of those similar looks to the one she had scored on back to take us to the media. 2 goals for Kalamazoo in 58 seconds of game time. Now, lost in that is that the goal between the two there was Hadaway and then Natalia Lima, and that was only at the 6:32 mark, so that was something in the neighborhood of 46 seconds after, and it's just a very interesting sequence of 1 minute. A lot can happen on that minute. Swigard does have the ankle uniced right now. Shoe stayed on. The trainer, Mason Lowenstein, continuing to work on her. Kalamazoo, their regular season ends today. They know that they have been out of playoff contention for a while. But Fort Wayne can still make it all the way to Las Vegas for championship weekend in that final weekend of March. It's the 28th and 29th from Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. They've got a tough task ahead, knowing that their 3 final matches all are with the undefeated all-time Chicago Mustangs. That said, you win this one, and you know that you've got the chance. You'll have to get more points accumulated somehow through the rest of this season than New Jersey has. Like we say, New Jersey is at 18 points right now. They have locked that record in. They finished 6-4, receiving 2 forfeits from Albuquerque this weekend. So, 19 is the number. 19 is the one you need, especially because New Jersey defeated Fort Wayne in a 7-6 match over in Kalamazoo 2 weekends ago. That head-to-head, that's one of your major tiebreakers, and Fort Wayne cannot win that one with New Jersey as they will not see them the rest of the season. The rest of the regular season, we should say. Although they could not meet in the postseason either, as Chicago is already locked in, and there's only one other spot. Top 2 teams from each conference will be heading to that championship weekend. Kim Ortega cutting off Van Valkenburg here. Good job of using the body shields. Lena Thomas has nobody on attack, but it will drift to the keeper Baker. And then this is a little bit out front of Wennemar. This is interesting as Lena Thomas comes up and challenges Wennemar. If she makes that clean interception, then who's to say that Baker is not going to be staring down the one-on-one with Fort Wayne's leading scorer? That would be advantage to the attacking club. 2 minutes to play until the half. A little bit high over the outstretched hand of Alicia Burns. The turn from Van Valkenburg is just a little bit too soft. Moj Tahiti, hounded by Nikki Burns. Pardon us, Nikki Page. We were once more just thinking about all of the implications of if Carmen Swigard were to miss extended time. Next scheduled regular season match is Saturday, a week from yesterday, that is, over in Chicago. That is a 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern kick on next Saturday, the 14th. One minute to play until the half. Shot off of Reyes. Fort Wayne probably not too interested in any more attacks per se. This might be the time to just take the air out of it and survive. Kennedy hits the turf hard. See if we're going to get a stoppage as well to come and take a look at Kennedy. Ooh, it's a card out for Permanent too on the hit against Kennedy. Permanent comes off, and this is power play time coming at 40.2 seconds. It's inopportune for Fort Wayne. It really is. Here's the thing. Should Kennedy, or pardon us, should that Kalamazoo side not score here, this penalty time, the power play would leak into next quarter. They'd come out of half and still have A minute and 20 seconds of power play. Van Valkenburg, long range, not quite on target. 20 seconds still. Power play for Kalamazoo. 6-2 match. Kennedy just looking to throw it into the box and see what happens sometimes. She's told us that she's learned to do that from so many years in indoor soccer. The Broomfield, Colorado native. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. After the penalty on Vivian Permanen, Fort Wayne will be a player down still when we come back out of the half. Fun first half, but the biggest storyline is probably not the score. It is probably the defending goalkeeper of the year, Carmen Swigard, off of the pitch still. And your score sits 6-2. That's, again, a little bit secondary. But it is important as Kalamazoo tries to go out on a strong note, make their statement, and start building for next season. And Fort Wayne looks to continue to keep their playoff hopes alive. 6-2. Vivian Permanen, the first score at 1:07 of the first quarter. Lena Thomas would get two quick ones, sandwiching the end of the first and beginning of the second quarter. Weisman got him twice in 21 seconds. And then the two Kalamazoo scores in the middle of the second quarter were Morgan Hadaway and Jalen Van Valkenburg within 58 seconds. Natalia Lima adding one more for Fort Wayne. Add it all up, that is 6-2. And we will take the break for halftime. Once more, we come to you live from the Classic City Center here in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. You're watching MLIS Pro TV. And good evening once again, everybody. We come to you live from the Classic City Center here in Waterloo, Indiana. Tanner White with Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on MLIS Pro TV. Your home side is the Fort Wayne Summit City Sentinels. They'll come out of the break with a 6-2 lead here at home. The road side, Kalamazoo Zoo City FC, showed life in the middle or so of that second quarter, getting 2 goals in just 58 seconds. Morgan Hadaway, the first one, from Jessica Kennedy, and then Jalen Van Volkenberg on a penalty shootout with a penalty called against Alicia Burns, the reserve keeper for Fort Wayne. That's going to be what all eyes are on, is the goalkeeping situation. Carmen Swigard appears to be up and sort of available, but Alicia Burns might be good to go the rest of the way in this one. Swigard is seen up on the bench, and she's standing, but really has to put very little weight on that left foot. And again, whether it's an ankle, whether it is a foot injury herself, it's tough to say. But certainly still in some pain after that injury in the first quarter. Morgan Hadaway ready to start this for Kalamazoo. I think everybody on the pitch is ready. Our referee on the field, Oscar Wante, is talking to Layla Mojtahedi here first. I'm not sure what else he's signaling. Got a couple of Fort Wayne players. Oh, I think they're saying, hey, we tried to come back and be full strength. But in fact, Vivian Permanent should still be in the penalty box for another minute and 20 seconds. This power play time carries over from the card against Permanent at the 40-second mark. All right. All right. Our off-field referees have now helped us sort this out. Thank you to Casey Gregory for stepping in there. He said, sorry, you got to sit down. Vivian Permanent, the Finland native, scored the first goal in this contest at a minute and 7 seconds of the first quarter, but then committed the penalty shortly before the end of that second quarter. So, power play time. Kalamazoo with a good chance to trim this lead right away. The shot for Kennedy is blocked by Layla Mojtahedi. You saw Mojtahedi donning that red penny when you had the penalty enforced against the goalkeeper, Alicia Burns. And so she goes into goal there, not really a goalkeeper in that situation, but you have to have somebody, and when you have your starting keeper injured and your reserve keeper having to serve a time penalty, you leave it up to kind of the, next woman up mentality, and Mojtahedi, as we mentioned, is an experienced futsal keeper. Let's see, we've got a whistle here and an official stoppage. I wonder if Permanent was trying to come off too early. Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. The yellow card is going to be thrown for leaving the box too early. It would have been the 13:40 mark when she was eligible to be released, but unfortunately, she's going to be penalized now another 5 minutes. We're seeing now timeout signaled from the Fort Wayne bench area to just have everybody discuss this. They're discussing on the field if they want to allow this timeout to be called even on the Fort Wayne side. Well, okay, so the timeout's not allowed, and the yellow and the blue card both go on Fort Wayne. You should have 7 total penalty minutes. Still, the power play is in effect until the 13:40 mark. That's when that original penalty gets released. Now we're told, I believe, that Natalia Lima is serving the rest of those minutes, the minutes for the yellow card. The yellow card, again, is going to be for leaving the penalty box early against Permanent, but you have to have somebody else serve it because Permanent's already serving the blue. And folks, will apologize once again for the interruption, but we do make a triumphant return to live coverage of today's broadcast This is a little bit longer of an interruption here. Unfortunately, at this stoppage, there's a lot to talk about. We're just going to stick right here with you through the break, tell you what you missed. You just saw the Fort Wayne score, and the keeper, the only one listed on the Kalamazoo side, Soleil Baker, go down at once in one fell swoop. Alexandra Rodas-Nichols getting on the board here at the 10:32 mark, 7-2, and getting big hugs all around that bench area. But there's injuries to both starting goalkeepers, and only one of these teams has a reserve keeper at all. It's a really uninteresting or a really interesting spot for anybody to be in. I think Baker's saying, "Hey, I'll be all right." Natalia Lima is still serving the penalty minutes for the yellow card that was thrown against Vivian Permanent, and it was because Permanent attempted to leave the penalty box early. Lima, we're hearing, is going to be released at 9:23. So again, the yellow card, it does not create a power play. That means you're not down a player on the field. It's just simply that you are having to choose somebody to stay in that box, and so they're not available. Nikki Page, save! Page right on target, went bottom right, and Alicia Burns, the reserve keeper, saved it. Maurer, that ball's spinning forever on the goal line! And what a sequence for Alicia Burns. Wow, everybody's going to know this reserve keeper soon. Soleil Baker and Alicia Burns is now your goalkeeping matchup. Carmen Swigard, injured in the first quarter, came off for Fort Wayne and has not returned yet. She is actively participating on the bench. This is shot a little wide here from Maritza Miranda, 11 for Kalamazoo. Our kits, Kalamazoo in the white with the pink and purple accents. Fort Wayne wears all blacks with some purple across the front and the back. The numbers for Fort Wayne, white. The numbers for Kalamazoo, black. Honestly, all of these have fantastic contrast, and they're a broadcaster's dream because it's just so easy to see and to read those numbers. We really, really feel bad for missing the goal from Alexandra Rodas-Nichols, but trust us that it was a beauty. We hope somebody, just got some video along the crowd somewhere. There's a great crowd here in the CCC, so that's entirely possible. Alyssa Weisman turning this ball away. Lima has now been released. Musser too wide. Maritza Miranda running this down for Kalamazoo. Miranda is a Donna, Texas native. Graduated with the Master's in Social Work from Western Michigan University in 2023. Summer, nice little look off as Piper Wennemar, 20 for Kalamazoo, was pressuring her, went over to Moj Tahiti to get it away. The clear, now Lima. Lima was quickly going to be doubled there between Maurer and Musser. You could just see that they're not going to allow Lima to physically take over this one. She's got all the physical skill to do so. Ariana Stulzfuss, back touch for the keeper Burns. Shot, scored! Moj Tahiti probably thinking, man, I haven't been celebrating enough of these as I would have liked. Playing more defense this year and not up top as much, but gets one here just before the media break, 8-2. And let's head to that timeout at 7:36 here. Third quarter, Fort Wayne leading 8-2 in control. And we are back out of the timeout. You got 7 minutes and 28 seconds to play here for the third quarter, just beyond halfway as we hit that media timeout. Our referees ready to blow their whistles and get this thing started. Once more, 8-2 contest. Fort Wayne in control with reserve keeper Alicia Burns, perhaps even more in control. These stats are unofficial so far for her, but Burns technically didn't even give up the PK, or the shootout rather. So she's faced 18 shots, and you have a single non-shootout goal against her scored. And again, that shootout goal wasn't even against her. That was against Layla Mojtahedi, who came in. This is bent from Beckham distance. That's nasty. And Kalamazoo trims the lead with Sierra Metzler. Not just from Beckham distance, but it had that same signature curve. That's fantastic. Metzler is a returner from last year's Kalamazoo club. Sometimes sees more or less rotation, but scores her first one here for the 2025-26 season, and in fact, her first career score here with Kalamazoo. Metzler can play a little bit of anywhere and does rotate through at all three different positions. Seen her everywhere but goalkeeper so far, and you start to wonder, what if Baker, is dusted up again? Kalamazoo is without their other goalkeeper, Jordan Hartman, in this one. We've wanted to hit on it. We've kind of held off on saying anything because we didn't want to jinx it when we saw Baker go down too. Jordan Hartman with a season-ending knee injury in a match last weekend in Kalamazoo. Pardon us, 2 weekends ago in Kalamazoo. As Kalamazoo hosted those 4 matches across that weekend. You had New Jersey and Chicago. You had Fort Wayne having to play a couple of matches there, one against Kalamazoo, like you might imagine, and then one against New Jersey. That traveling club had a good weekend as they would beat both Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne, and they still sit on top of them. Lima, pinball wizardry! She scores! Natalia Lima. She's got a couple for the match. That's 5 minutes and 54 seconds, third quarter. Fort Wayne tripling up Kalamazoo. Shouldn't have said anything. Hadaway was bearing down on the keeper and got another easy one. That is, we're trying to count how many seconds that took off of the restart. Probably not more than 10. Wow. And Hadaway's first one was easy. This second one's easier and about as easy as anybody will have this entire season long. It's almost stunning. Well, the scoring pace of this one has picked up. For the first quarter, you said, okay, so 2 goals both for Fort Wayne, and it took within a minute and 7 seconds for anybody to crack, within a minute and 7 seconds of the end of the quarter for anybody to crack the scoreboard in the first place. Very different feel to that third quarter. We've still got over 5 minutes to play here for the quarter. Fort Wayne, Summit City Sentinels, 9-3 their lead. Kalamazoo will close out their regular season today. A 10-match regular season here in season number 2 of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. It was just 6 matches last year and just 4 teams. It's a huge expansion. Baker somehow saw that ball not go in. We just kind of assumed that was going to ricochet off of her and find its way into the net. Fortunate bounce. In our other WMLIS match today, the Phoenix Pulse have defeated the Las Vegas Turf Monsters. That was a 5-3 final. That game going final around the time that this one kicked off. You had a hat trick for Phoenix's Justice Smith in that one. It's nothing new for Smith. She was the leading scorer across the Las Vegas weekend. Lima is rejected by the keeper Baker, and she's a little bit slow to get up. Justice Smith now 17 total goals. Or pardon us, 17 total points with 14 goals. as she polishes up her regular season. Phoenix is done. But they and Utah in the West have already clinched Las Vegas. They'll be playing on championship weekend. We've still got questions to sort out here in the East, though. Will it be New Jersey? Will it be Fort Wayne? Those are your options. Fort Wayne's got to win this one, and then they can start talking about the rest of their scenarios with the last 3 matches all coming against undefeated Chicago. Maurer is just denied by Thomas. Look at the wheels. Kim Ortega. Ortega not able to get all the way down before that ball comes to the goalkeeper. Diane Hurtado. Hurtado wrapping around the board. That was a really good design as Hadaway lurked again just in front of the goal frame. So if Hadaway is thinking, okay, it doesn't have to be hard, then let's not make it hard. Van Valkenburg, shot, woodwork! And so Burns will tell that post there, thank you very much. Hadaway from Maria Maurer is the last score. It's credited officially, or unofficially here at 5 minutes and 43 seconds, third quarter. We have 3 minutes to play for this quarter. 9-4 score. This 4-goal output now is actually a little bit beyond Kalamazoo's season average. It speaks to, for one, a forfeit, as all of the clubs that played in Kalamazoo 2 weekends ago received a forfeit from our Albuquerque club. They were unable to make that trip. So those are scored as just the 1-0 wins, and then that affects, for what it's worth, club's goal differential. They might have said, well, if we played those matches, we could have created more goal differential, but could also say that it could go the other way. Who's to say? Hadaway, save! Alicia Burns is going to be hopefully carried off on a bunch of players' shoulders. And hopefully Carmen Swigard, the starting keeper, is not one of them. But again, she's so active participating on the bench right now. And she'll probably be Burns' biggest fan. Vivian Permanen looking to back down Kennedy. Permanen, good look. Mojtahedi's shot. Now, it was a clear handball, we thought, on Van Valkenburg, and she's probably saying, I don't know what I could do about that. That ball just leapt onto my hand. Van Valkenburg coming off, and Brenna Musser now coming on for Kalamazoo. Musser, Grand Rapids, Michigan native. Musser has one of the more fascinating hobbies off the field of almost any player that you'll find here out in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. Rollerblading. Not roller skating, but blading. I think that looks just even cooler. 90 seconds to play until we get to quarter number 4. You had the defensive clearance call here against Kalamazoo. Layla Mojtahedi on the free kick. Mojtahedi over for Summer to her left. Summer nearly pelted our referee there, James Lowe. Again, folks, they're always in play and they're always in danger. Up off of the ceiling here in the CCC. So we're going to have to do this whole thing over again here, but this time it's just placed at that yellow line instead, that 15-foot mark. Wide from Ariana Stoltzfus. 1 minute and 15 seconds still to play for the frame. Summer pressuring Diane Hurtado, maybe had a little hand on her back. Now Kennedy has a ton of options. Kennedy goes up to her right for Brenna Musser. Musser, lefty, save for Burns. Kennedy says, hey, I need a little bit of motion. She just motioned with her hands saying, let's get moving a little bit. I think Kennedy's going to sub herself out. She's taking a look at her left arm, maybe elbow, and saying, hey, I need one. Maritza Miranda will go and tap her out in the midfield. Again, Miranda wearing 11 for Kalamazoo. Under a minute, third quarter. 9-4 match. Mojtahedi had a little bit of airspace. She thought about it. Instead, crosses into Wiesman. Knocked the other way. Summer has to tap it back to the keeper. Miranda gaining control for Kalamazoo. Not for long. Summer for Vivian Permanen. Permanen is fouled there by Hurtado. So with the reigning goalkeeper of the year, Carmen Swigart, on the sidelines, would you have expected maybe that the Fort Wayne side would miss a couple of beats and would have some defensive issues? You would, but you really just haven't seen that. One buzzer beater shot from Wiesman is going to be stuffed. Saleha Ty Baker battling with Alicia Burns. And that will take us to quarter number 4. Fort Wayne 9, Kalamazoo 4. You're watching Women's Major League Indoor Soccer here on MLIS Pro TV. Fourth quarter coming soon. And it is time for quarter number 4. We got just 15 more minutes on the clock to wrap this thing up, perhaps, at least for regulation. Coming to you live from the Classic City Center here in Waterloo, Indiana. I'm Tanner White, and you're watching MLIS Pro TV. Oh, what an absolute weekend it's been. A whale of a weekend, and it's not quite done yet, folks. We've still got, let's take a moment and check in on our other matches. In Major League Indoor Soccer news, Utah Uprising FC has kind of shaken things up. That men's club over there. Now, the women's club is just dominating, so that's not really shaken up at all. We know what the heck they're doing, and we know that they're continuing to be undefeated. On the men's side, Utah has beaten Amarillo, the defending champions, and a previously undefeated team coming into play today. That game kicked off at, I believe it was noon Mountain Time. That's gone final 11-10, and Utah was sitting in that third spot, not knowing if they would get a chance, as Orlando could have clinched their spot. This is knocked down by the keeper, Saleha Baker. So Utah is basically still alive, and they know that they have to win out, but Orlando made that much easier as Dallas CD La Cuadra wins their first MLIS match in their final match of the regular season. And that is just unspeakably poetic. Utah still alive, and now Orlando kind of hanging by a string there as they're 7-5 overall with one of those being an overtime loss against Las Vegas. Once more, these two teams are in the Eastern Conference of Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. Little wide here. Sierra Metzler, freshly off of her first goal with Kalamazoo. Now Musser back for Metzler. It's been a signature look of Metzler's to have a big knee brace on her right. That brace looks like it's gotten a little bit smaller maybe for this season, but a thicker wrap or more compressive wrap on it. Musser back for the keeper. Once more, we tell you that the goalkeeper matchup is Soleil Ty Baker for Kalamazoo and Alicia Burns for Fort Wayne. Burns taking over for the injured Carmen Swigard in the first quarter. The Fort Wayne side would then take off scoring, ironically, shortly after that happened, and maybe, rallying around the injury a little bit. But it's never ideal to lose the reigning goalkeeper of the year. Kalamazoo foul there on Maritza Miranda. Reyes, too wide. Watch Permanence follow as she is armbarred by Nikki Page there. Wow, that's just tough from Page with the capital T. Page, look at the back heel for Metzler, too. That's a great sequence. Permanent stumbles here, and maybe that's just the turf needing to be redone a little bit here in the CCC. And we hear talks that perhaps that could be done in the offseason. There's a lot of, potential offseason talks going around all three of our leagues here with MLIS, WMLIS, and our new exhibition program, MLIS-X. And in fact, we've got an MLIS-X match coming up just after this one here from the CCC. We talked a little bit about live streaming that one, not going to here on MLIS Pro TV. Not this time, but that exhibition season planning to wrap up next weekend. That was also the target date that was initially set for the end of both regular seasons for MLIS and WMLIS. However, that could be stretched a little bit. On the men's side, we already know it's going to be. We'll tell you about that in a moment, as Wennemar will cut this off what looked like it would be a good scoring chance for Weisman. Basically, there was a rescheduled match with Toronto and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will travel to Toronto to play on March the 21st. It's one of those where the availability of your facilities and travel plans and all those things force one's hand sometimes, and that's exactly what happened with that match. The weather, when it was just a little bit too crazy, Metzler almost went top bin once more. It's well done. So, that March the 21st match, Pittsburgh at Toronto, that is the final regular season match on the MLIS side. And on the WMLIS side, it kind of still remains to be seen because the Chicago Mustangs and your home Fort Wayne Summit City Sentinels still have games to be played. And the Kalamazoo run ends with the punctuation from Miranda. Nine to 5 is the score. This is quietly very much a ball game. Pardon us, we have the goal scorer Musser coming into us now. Musser at 10:58 fourth quarter. Swigard, the keeper, continues to try and kind of test out the ankle time to time, and it just looks like the decision's been made that no reason to run her out there and risk further re-injury. Got to look ahead to next Saturday to that away match at Chicago. Hurtado over for Maria Maurer. Maurer to Kennedy. From long range. Another one just snuck through and scored! This time, Piper Wennemar from downtown. Well, you thought it was a match before. How about 9 to 6? Wennemar will also get her first with Kalamazoo. Wennemar blocked 7 shots, and we told you how much this team loves her defensive energy and effort. And here she contributes with a really important goal for this one, frankly. Burns is maybe showing a couple of cracks. Under 10 minutes here for the fourth quarter, and it's now 9-6. From 9-3, you would have thought, okay, well, then this match is mostly decided. Now, it's pretty much entirely different. Brenna Burt turning this over. Long chase. Lena Thomas. Thomas staring down Jessica Kennedy. Wall-balled, and could you imagine if she wall-balled that on target to herself? Slick. Hadaway, Musser, Wennemar. That's the 3-goal scoring run put on from Kalamazoo. Zoo City has the first 2 goals here of the fourth quarter. They got the last one of the third, and not in a bad spot. This is a save here for Alicia Burns. Slow distribution. Rolling it out to that left wall. Wow. Eliana Summer took quite a while before she picked that up, and now they'll play on. Maurer coming up to meet Nichols. Whistle as Summers down. It looks like the foul is going to go on Hadaway for Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo, one of not very many clubs around, frankly, all 3 of our leagues, to have the numbers on the shorts that really do help you to identify when you're not able to see the number on the back because the player is facing you. Mojtahedi, not quite on target from her free kick. Summer pressured now by Hadaway as she slips her. It's a 3-on-3 here. Lena Thomas just wide. One of her best looks of the whole evening. Summer is down. Thomas' shot is blocked. And Summer is probably frustrated too. Nichols off of Kennedy as she tried to serve it in once more for Lena Thomas. Burns. Oh, is challenged by Hadaway. This might lead to a dink and dunk, and it does. I think we're going to see Swigard make a return here in a 2-goal match now. The decision's made. 9-7 at 7:43 of the third quarter. Pardon us, 7:48, and we do have the media timeout hitting here too, but Carmen Swigard, the starting keeper, is coming back in, calling her own number. We'll be back out of this timeout in just a few here with Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on MLIS Pro TV. So, folks, do you think that when you get to the penultimate weekend of the regular season, that all the drama is gone and everything's wrapped up and everybody knows where they're going, if they're going home and if they're going to championship weekend? Not at all. So much more to sort out here. Fort Wayne has gone back to the starting keeper, Carmen Swigard. The left ankle is everybody's main focus. On either side, everybody knows it. Good news is, right-footed. Wow, you could just see the moment that she went to get the goal kick out there that was difficult for her in distribution even. And she was about to stare down a first attack from Nikki Page. Over her head first, watch the rebound. Really measuring up each step, holding onto the wall here for support too. But she turns to Coach Hope Castillo, and they both kind of made that decision with the knowing look to each other that, hey, if I can go, maybe it's time for me to do so. Defensive clearance, Jessica Kennedy. What's the set play for Kalamazoo? Kennedy shoots and scores! Golasso! Jessica Kennedy dropping a bomb, and it's a 1-goal match. Wow. Do you hear that, folks? It's the sound of silence. Everything has been flipped on its head, and it didn't take long. This is stunning what Kalamazoo's done in this fourth quarter. Now it's 9-8. Nothing has been decided yet. But Kennedy at that 7:07 mark on her free kick goal has just made it a 1-goal match. Eight goals allowed for Fort Wayne on the season is one off of a season high. The season opener, they had a real tough assignment. They had to travel all the way to Chicago. They were tossed in that one unceremoniously 9-2. Swigard was the starting keeper, the keeper of record in that one. Says, yeah, 9 goals felt like a lot in that one. It was very, very frustrating, she told us after that match. And now seeing the 8, though it's split between her and the reserve keeper Burns, it's still just one of those mental numbers that this club expects to be a little bit better defensively. Stoltzfus on approach, set piece. Mojtahedi blocked. I believe Hurtado threw her body in to knock that away. Jennifer Reyes, soft touch. Swigard has now cut the stride down too, and you can see, wow, when she tries to backpedal, not going to be able to do that with any kind of velocity. So you wonder how far she can risk drifting here as she kind of gets involved in the attack. Swigard, she did get a left-footed touch there, but it drew even a little bit more breath of effort from her. And again, if she's got to drop back quickly, like she is here, it really begs the question, are you able to get all the way back into position in time? She did here. But facing true solo runs after maybe an interception from Kalamazoo, you wonder. The risk is high. But here's the thing, the reward eventually, if you can get all the way there in the standings, is Las Vegas. Shot too high from Mojtahedi, though Baker did get a little piece. Reyes over to her left for Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus just wide. Now, Lima is probably going to be a little bit upset that there wasn't a foul call there. Took a little bit of contact on her left shin from Nikki Page. Swigard in the face of Hurtado, not phased. 4 minutes, 35 seconds to play here from the Classic City Center in Waterloo, Indiana. A gutsy fourth quarter on both sides. Kalamazoo just has zero quit in them. They're trying to play spoiler. Call it a rivalry. Call it just familiarity, as these were two inaugural season clubs last year, and they know each other so well, or call it whatever you will. It is unfolding like a grudge match. Swigard, the keeper, kind of said, hey, this is personal, and if I'm calling my own number, I'm going to finish this one out. And on the Fort Wayne side, they really have to think that it's going to benefit them most to get their points in regulation. You got the 3-2-1 system here in Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. 3 for the regulation win, 3 for an overtime, or 2 rather for an overtime or shootout win, and 1 for an overtime or shootout loss. Miranda up to Metzler. Ortega, some pressure. See if Miranda can get this beyond halfway. Summer sending it the other direction. A header, Van Valkenburg. Metzler, right along the midfield stripe. Over to her left. Now Brenna Musser. Hadaway is cut off with the body of Eliana Summer. Under 3 minutes to play. We're hearing that Fort Wayne is going to take a timeout soon. Probably going to be on the next stoppage of play that we see this timeout come on the Sentinels side. 4-2 record for them coming into play. They've already seen New Jersey's record finalized. The club that's currently ahead of them in WMLIS's Eastern Conference. All of New Jersey's wins in regulation, 18 points overall. For Fort Wayne, all of their wins in regulation, but 12 points overall now. They've got to get 19 as the head-to-head tiebreaker would favor New Jersey, and that's your first tiebreaker that's relevant if both should finish with 18 points exactly. It means, for what it's worth, that Fort Wayne has 3 matches against Chicago to get 4 total points. They know the math too, as well as anybody else does. Metzler was there on the doorstep. Just couldn't direct it toward the goal in time. 1 minute and 45 seconds to play. Lima, interception, solo run. What a stop from Van Valkenburg with under 100 ticks. Van Valkenburg has, and we've said this before, even in this building the last time this team came here at Kalamazoo, that she has all the makings of one of the elite defenders and really all-around players in this league, as she does get some rotation at all 3 spots. Ortega looking for a backbreaker too. She's not going to get it yet. This ball is headed straight towards yours truly. Oh, we nearly had it. Shame on me, folks. I keep telling you I'm going to make a play on one of those eventually. I just haven't been able to do it yet. This ball went so far out of play over yours truly's head that they're calling it back onto the field. I don't typically see that. Finally, we told you that that timeout was coming, and it's taken at 1 minute and 6 seconds. We are going to stay with you here through that timeout break. Just throw the graphic up for you so you know what you're looking at. Fort Wayne Summit City Sentinels, Kalamazoo Zoo City FC. This is really going to become, one would think, the rivalry. Chicago runs things here on the East, and that's just been that way, and we'll call that what it is. That's an undefeated club. They've never lost here through nearly 2 full regular seasons. And then the rest of it, as you add in New Jersey, you subtract POW Chicago. That was a original inaugural member club last season. And you keep the other 3 with Kalamazoo, Chicago, Fort Wayne. Sort of, you expected things to, in some way, develop into a rivalry for somebody, and exactly what we got. We're just about to come out of that timeout. 1 minute and 10 seconds to wrap it up. Eliana Summer in possession here, right by that Fort Wayne bench after the timeout. Called from Coach Hope Castillo. Kalamazoo kind of down to their last on the season, as it were, but imagine even forcing the extra time and having a chance to play spoiler, to feel like you've just made it that much more difficult for Fort Wayne to claw their way into Las Vegas. That would be a win all of its own. Swigard, the keeper, still battling through. Says, I really think I can do this on just one good ankle. Swigard to Permanen. Permanen fouled there by Musser. Permanen smarting a little bit. She's walking it off. Permanent said she just wants to contribute to the team any way she can, help them win games. And she's done that in her first couple of matches out here with the club. Permanent with the opening goal. Nichols tosses Hadaway. Hadaway's still down. I don't think we're going to see the stoppage yet. And now this is a clear stall tactic from Lena Thomas. But hey, you've got to do what you've got to do when standings in Las Vegas and championship weekend are all on the line. And that is the final horn. In that entire minute and 10 seconds, Kalamazoo's not going to get a shot up. Fort Wayne survives, not by much, but your final score is 9-8. Wow, we were treated in this one again, folks. This, for what our money's worth, this looks like the rivalry of the Eastern Conference. It is poetic that Carmen Swigard should come in to finish this one off and keep that score where it's at. You did have the one Kennedy free kick score that was on Swigard when she made the return, but besides that, the rest of the way, hobbled as she was able to polish this one off. We believe that will make her the keeper of record. All right, scoring summary goes like this. We'll make it quick. Morgan Hadaway had a hat trick, her first with Kalamazoo, and the Summit side, the home side, had three different players chipping in 2 goals apiece. You had Natalia Lima, Alyssa Wiesman, Lena Thomas. Vivian Perman, as we mentioned, scored the very first one. Alexandra Rodas Nichols with her first goal with the club, and Layla Mojtahedi got on the board as well for this Fort Wayne side. Add it all up, that's 9 scores. The shooting differential, again, this is unofficial so far, but it shows Kalamazoo with 45 total shots, Fort Wayne with 26. Those are big numbers all the way around. We'll finalize those in a moment for you. Soleil Ty Baker goes 15 of 24 saves with a 62.5% save percentage on the day. Carmen Swigard with saving 4 out of 4, and Alicia Burns, we've got her with 26 saves. If that is official, that number holds up upon inspection. That is going to be a top 3 total in a single game all time in the regular season here with Women's Major League Indoor Soccer. That is just about all we've got to offer, folks. Fort Wayne still alive. Got a whole lot of work cut out for them. Their last 3 matches all with Chicago. The ones that we know, those are March 14th and 15th next weekend. The 14th over in Chicago, 8 p.m. kickoff. The 15th right back here, same place, just 1 week from today, 5 p.m. kickoff. And then that last match, we've heard speculation on it, but we're not quite certain yet when that one will need to be played. Fort Wayne has to get 4 more total points out of those 3 matches with the Chicago Mustangs coming up. Those are the stakes, and this was the show. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. Your final score once more: Fort Wayne Summit City Sentinels 9, Kalamazoo Zoo City FC 8. I'm Tanner White. You've been watching Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on MLIS Pro TV.